Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Microbes in Human Welfare, a very interesting chapter to study and discuss about. And in this video we will cover part 1. Now let's begin with the first question, which was asked in the year 2017. Which of the following in sewage treatment removes suspended solids? So whenever we talk about sewage treatment, you have about 8 steps, or sometimes there are even more steps when compared to 8, but this is a general process that we are talking about. So when we talk about the first step, it will be screening, okay, screening and pumping. Step 2 will be grit removal, okay, step 2 will be grit removal. Step 3 will be primary settling. Step 4 will be aeration, okay, aeration. Then step 5 will be the secondary settling, and step 6, step 7, the secondary settling, whatever happened, they'll treat it. And the last step will be the oxygen uptake. Okay, so the last step is oxygen uptake, O2. Okay, so why is that a sewage treatment very important? If you see, it's a process of removing the contaminants from the wastewater containing many household sewage, and sometimes you even have industrial waste. Physical, chemical and biological processes are used to remove contaminants and produce the treated wastewater that is safe enough to release in the environment. So that is why we treat the sewage there's a particular treatment for this water that comes out as waste, which is put out from different houses and industries. Before it goes into the environment directly into the mud or soil or whatever, it has to be treated, otherwise it will cause a danger to the environment. So which of the following in the sewage treatment removes the primary which removes the suspended solids? If you see, it will be primary treatment. That is a physical process which will remove the suspended solids. Okay, therefore the correct answer is option B. Next question here. Which of the following is correctly matched for the product produced by them? Very easy question. If you know it, I'm sure you'll be able to answer. Methanobacterium produces lactic acid. Wrong, because methanobacterium will produce methanogens. Penicillin notatum produces acetic acid. Wrong, because it produces penicillin, which is an antibiotic, we all know. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is actually a yeast. What is it? It's a yeast, and it produces ethanol. That is right. Acetobacter aceti produces antibiotics. Sorry, it doesn't produce any antibiotics, but it only causes harm to the other living organisms. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option C, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This is actually a yeast that is used and sometimes even called as brewer's yeast, because they are used in the production of various alcoholic beverages and also in making other baking items. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. Let's move to the next question here. The gut of the cow and buffalo possesses dash. Again, an easy question for you to answer. I think I have to introduce something called as biogas. Why is it called as biogas? Because it is eco-friendly, or it is safe for the environment. Only then we use terms like bio, or we use, now you have the common term in food items where we use organic food substances, which means it is safe to consume and it is also safe for the environment. Likewise, this biogas, which is produced from the methanogens or methanogenic bacteria, which can be used for burning purposes, for cooking purposes and so on, it does not produce any smoke. So since it does not produce any smoke, it is very eco-friendly. So where do you get this biogas? Is from the cow dung of the animals. It's not just cow dung, it's the waste that is liberated out from these gut animals, especially the gut of cows, buffaloes and many other animals. Okay, so when they liberate their waste, we can actually use them as biogas, which does not produce any smoke on burning. So it is safe for the environment. So the gut of the cow and buffalo possesses methanogens, which when comes out as waste from their body will be rich in these methanogens. Methanogenic bacteria once activates and it gets formed into methanogens. Okay, Apart from that, methanogens are microorganisms that produce. So what is it actually? What does it biogas contain? CH4. What is that? Methane. That is in the gut of the ruminant animals like cows and buffaloes. So you can simply call it as ruminant animals. Okay. The correct answer is option B. Next question here. What gases are produced in anaerobic sludge digesters? Now, this is a very interesting question here. When we talk about respiration, okay, we have two types. What are the two types that you know? One is aerobic and the other one is anaerobic. Now, when we talk about aerobic or anaerobic, anaerobic is in the absence of oxygen. Okay, and the same thing here, aerobic in the presence of oxygen, right? In the presence of oxygen. Okay, so these are the two types of respiration methods. Many microorganisms, if you see, they might be aerobic or some might be anaerobic, and some are facultative anaerobic. When I say facultative anaerobic, if there is presence of oxygen also, they will survive. If there is no presence of oxygen also, they will survive. So they are intermediate, 50-50 probability. There or not there, they will still survive. So they are called as facultative anaerobics. Now, the major component, now to talk about this anaerobic digestion, if you see, it is a series of processes in which the microorganisms break down the biodegradable material in the absence of oxygen. So they do the breakdown process in the absence of oxygen. Okay, so when we talk about in the absence of oxygen, what all will come under this? The process of anaerobic condition will produce a biogas. What will come when I say biogas? It is methane. So I've given you a clue. One is methane, consisting of methane, carbon dioxide. Of course, other than oxygen, it will have the rest. Okay, the correct answer will be option B, methane, hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide. You will not have any oxygen from it. Sometimes there is also presence of hydrogen sulfide. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. Okay. So now let's move to the next question here, which was asked in the year 2013. During sewage treatment, biogases are produced which include dash. So just now we saw in the earlier question about it, right? When we talk about sewage treatment, we always consider it in an anaerobic condition. So when we talk about anaerobic condition, what all we saw in the earlier question, what are the gases that were produced? Methane, hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide. So the same scenario is faced here. So whenever we talk about sewage treatment, always remember we are talking in terms of anaerobic condition. Okay, the major components of the biogas, we all know when we talk about biogas, the first thing that comes to our mind is the methane, because they are produced from the methanogenic bacteria, where the sole component that it produces is the methane. So apart from that, the other gases are carbon dioxide. So here you have the composition, which is 25 to 35%, while hydrogen is 1 to 5%, nitrogen is 2 to 7%, and oxygen is 0 to 0.1%. So it's a negligible amount when it comes to oxygen. And sometimes you also have rarely hydrogen sulfide also. That is why the answer is option D. Okay, next question here. A good producer of citric acid. Okay, you're given four options here: Pseudomonas, Saccharomyces, Clostridium and Aspergillus. But always remember, when we talk in terms of acids, mostly it will be the fungus that will be producing it. Okay, there are many fungus which are used for the production of these acids, like the malic acid, gluconic acid and so on. So out of the four options, you have to identify the fungus here, because I've now given the clue that fungus are the major producers of acids. So out of the four options, which one is the fungi here? It is Aspergillus. Okay, Aspergillus is a fungi. So a good producer or a good source of citric acid is Aspergillus niger. So they have given the species here. It is Aspergillus niger exclusively. Apart from that, you also have other acids which can be produced from fungus, like the gluconic acid, the malic acid, oxalic acid and so on. So always remember, the fungus is used for the production of various acids. The correct answer is option D. Next question here. Molasses purpuris is a yeast used commercially in the production of dash. So what do you know about this yeast? We all know there's something called Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is also called as brewer's yeast and so on, and it is used in the production of ethanol and predominantly used in Predominantly used in, it is predominantly used in the alcoholic beverages especially. Now when we talk about molasses, okay, molasses purpuree, it's once again, it's a fungus. It's a yeast that is used commercially for the production of various things. It's a species of mold that appears purplish red in color. It is also known by the name of rice mold, corn sludge mold, and so on. So mostly, if I have to talk about this particular one, is this yeast is also called as red yeast rice. What is it also called as? Red yeast rice is a rice fermented with red yeast. It contains several derivatives such as mevinic acid, including levostin. Levostin is the active ingredient of the cholesterol-lowering medicinal products, but when found in red yeast rice, it is more often referred to the synonymous name of malaclonon. So I've given you a clue now. So it is related with the cholesterol part. Yes, this is also called as the red yeast rice because the color and the appearance, and it's a rice fermented yeast. So here what does it do? If you see, it is commercially used in the production of blood cholesterol lowering statins, okay, which are used for lowering the blood cholesterol. Therefore the correct answer to this question is option D. Next question here. A patient brought to a hospital with a myocardial infarction is normally immediately given dash. Okay, so what is the other name for myocardial infarction? It is heart attack. So that is what they've given here. When they talk about myocardial infarction, don't get confused. The other name for heart attack in scientific name or scientific terms, you always say it as myocardial infarction. Now imagine a patient is brought with heart attack, and what happens, or the first thing that you will give to the person. So you have four options here. Obviously it is not penicillin, okay. Penicillin is an antibiotic, mostly given as a term of antibiotic. You're having streptokinase, cyclosporin, and statins. Statins we just now saw in the bad cholesterol terms, where it will lower the cholesterol. So once again, that is not the answer. The correct answer is streptokinase. It is immediately given to dissolve the, so we have to dissolve the thrombus in it. You call it as thrombus, right? We need to dissolve it. Only then they'll get the relief, which is carrying the myocardial infarction. So the thrombus has to be dissolved. So the first thing that they will incorporate for that patient will be streptokinase, which is option B. Therefore the correct answer is option B, streptokinase. Okay, next question here. Yeast is used in the production of dash. See, yeast has many functions. Okay, it is used in many productions, and it's also called as brewer's yeast when we talk about that. So what do you think will be the answer now here? Mostly if you see, it is the bread and the beer. Okay, mostly it is the bread and the beer. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is also called as brewer's or baker's yeast, and they are used commercially in the production of ethanol. Apart from that, you also have bread and beer. Beer is once again an alcoholic beverage, right? Therefore the correct answer is option C. Next question here. Which one of the following is an example? Okay, which one of the following is an example of carrying out biological control of pests or diseases using microbes? So here you have four options here. We'll go one by one. We have Trichoderma species against certain plant pathogens. Then you have nucleopolyheterovirus. Then Bt cotton, which is used to increase the cotton yield. Then we have the ladybird beetle. Now what do you mean by the Trichoderma species? What is that you can talk about exclusively about this species? Trichoderma. See, Trichoderma is actually a fungus. What is it actually? It's a fungus. Trichoderma is a genus of fungi in the family of, what is the family it belongs to? Hypocrisae. Okay, it belongs to the family of Hypocrisae. That is present in all soils where they are most prevalent culturable fungi. Many species are used in this genus and can be characterized as an opportunistic plant symbionts. So Trichoderma against certain plant pathogens is the right option because it is actually a benefit for the plant. Okay, so here the question clearly tells us which can be used as a control of pest or disease using microbes. So this particular fungi, if you see, can be grown as symbionts with the plants where it supports the plant and helps in it helps or protects the plant from the attack of other microbes. Okay. Apart from that, is trichoderma toxic? One species of the genus Trichoderma, which is called as Longhii branchidium, it is extremely harmful and toxic to humans. It produces toxic peptides called it's actually called it's actually called as trilongens, which is highly pathogenic to humans. But mostly these strains will not be acting as symbionts with plants. The rest of them will act as symbionts with the plants, and it will act as a biological control over the pest and disease. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. Next question here. The domestic sewage in large cities dash. So what is the answer here? We're talking about the sewage system here. When we talk about domestic sewage, it has high BOD as it contains both aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. No, it is processed by aerobic and then anaerobic bacteria in the secondary treatment in the sewage treatment plants. So that will be the right answer, because in the initial question when we started this chapter, we started with the first question about sewage treatment, right? We saw about 8 steps there, where we saw about the primary settling, secondary settling, where they undergo aerobic, anaerobic, and when you do the aerobic presence, they will do it in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic will be in the absence of oxygen. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. It is processed by aerobic, and then they of course do an anaerobic process also, and that will be the secondary treatment of sewage treatment plants. Okay, next question here. Read the following. Read the following statement having 2 blanks. A drug used for dash dash patients obtained from the species of organism dash dash. Okay, obviously it is not option A, because heart you do not give penicillin, you give streptokinase. Organ transplant you give trichoderma. Swine flu monaskis, AIDS pseudomonas. The right answer is organ transplant you give trichoderma. Trichoderma is a species of filamentous fungi, while cyclosporin A is an immunosuppressive drug obtained from trichoderma, and it is used during organ transplantation. So what is the chemical that is present in it? What is a immunosuppressive drug that they take from the trichoderma? It is cyclosporin A. So that is an immune suppressive agent or a drug. Why do you need an immune suppressive drug during organ transplantation? When you talk about organ transplantation, we are taking an organ from some other body or some other person or a host, and we are incorporating into another host. So if the immunosuppressive agents are not used, automatically the body will reject the organ during transplantation. That is why you use an immunosuppressive drug to suppress the immune system, and once the organ is transplanted, it is back to the normal. So immediately if you don't give an immunosuppressive drug, automatically the organ will be rejected from the person that you're going to incorporate with. That is why you give an immunosuppressive drug. Therefore, the correct answer is option B, organ transplant, which has trichoderma. Therefore, the correct answer is option B. Next question here. Which one of the following is a wrong matching of microbe and its industrial product, while remaining 3 are correct? Okay, we have to discuss one by one. Yeast statins, that is right. Acetobacter aceti gives acid, that is also right. Clostridium buticulum, that is wrong. See, lactic acid is not produced from Clostridium, it is from the lactic acid bacteria, lactogens you call them as simply. The correct answer is option C. Clostridium buticulum is industrially produces butyric acid. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. Out of the 3, which one is wrong? Option C is wrong. It produces butyric acid and not lactic acid. Next question here. Ethanol is commercially produced through a particular species of dash. This is a very easy question because we already discussed about it a lot. Whenever we talk about the alcoholic beverages, we always have to remember there's one particular yeast which is also called as brewer's yeast, and that is none other than Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is a commercially used product which is used in the production of ethanol, and it is an yeast which helps in alcoholic fermentation, in which the sugars such as glucose and the rest of the sugars that glucose, fructose and others are converted into cellular energy to produce the final product, which is ethanol. Okay, therefore the correct answer is option A. Next question here. Which one of the following pairs is wrongly matched? Again, this is a very easy question for you. Fruit juice has pectinase, that is right. Textile needs amylase, that is also right. Detergents need lipase, that is also right. Alcohol, is it nitrogenase? That is wrong. Alcohol and nitrogenase is pair is wrong, because alcohol, what does it do? It produces ethanol, right? So alcohol, it should be ethanol. Therefore the right answer is ethanol produces alcohol. Therefore the right answer is option A. Which one is wrongly matched? It is option A. Very easy question, because when you talk about fruit juices, you will obviously have many sugars in it. Textile, you obviously need amylase for it. Now the correct answer is option A. So with this we complete the part 1 of this chapter. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you.